a price where you get in the sense of a return, where you get your return from renting it out at the highest possible price.
Oh, yeah.
There's another value that I consider, which is tenant retention. Because again, if you build right, and it doesn't really cost that much more money, but if you do it right in the front end, like my saying is, invest in the front end, save in the back end, make a lot of money. So you'll see, like another thing, like my water filtration system. My water is triple filtered before the person drinks it. It's double filtered and softened before it touches their skin. So it pulls out mold. And our AC systems have 4-inch Marv 11 AC filters, pulls out mold, mildew, and pollen. So our properties are green, clean, non-VOC paint, low VOC products, so it's really healthy. I have medical patients rent from us that come to see specialty doctors, and they refer them to stay in our property. So not much more money and for so much more value, So
with the water filtration system, is it around here?
Yeah.
We can see that later.
Well, so one of the systems is in here. One part of the system is in here. So there's a saltwater system plus a filtration system inside of this setup here. And this is the hot water heater. We're gonna actually be taking both of these outside, and we're gonna be putting in a small washer and dryer in here. So we can have in-unit washer and dryer, yeah.
It can fit in there?
A small one would be very tight, but we pay extra for the small ones.
Yeah.
And you can make it work. And the value for an in-unit washer and dryer is very high. So, we're trying to provide as much value as humanly possible for our guests. Our bathrooms, if you check them out, like the quality of our bathroom, floating vanity.
Nice. Oh yeah, that tile sounds good.
Each tile's $8 a sheet, but I don't like wasting money, but this is just so nice that it definitely hits the vibe. Has this white satin finish to it. All of our shower heads, magnetic with waterfall. Nice. So it definitely is great because the women love it. They grab it, they take a shower, right? It's great for long hair and so on. Like, you don't get those features, but it does not much more money compared. So you can buy a cheap one that's gonna break for probably $50 to $80. Then you can buy a better one for about $120. Well, for $220, you get this in the value of people. There's a price where you get in the sense of a return, where you get your return from renting it out at the highest possible price.
Oh yeah.
There's another value that I consider, which is tenant retention.
Ooh, yeah.
So when you provide something that brings them to stay, which is pretty, but then you give them something that's utilitarian, it makes them stay. So you draw them in and then you keep them in. And that's these things that cost more that you cannot put a dollar amount on it. In the standard sense, I have found value in the sense of keeping a client longer. Like hurricane windows. People are like, oh, get hurricane windows, saves you on home insurance. Yeah. It doesn't. I own an insurance company. It's like $20 a year, but you spent $15,000 on hurricane windows.
So you still put them in though?
Still put them in.
Just for the insurance savings, but what does that do for a short-term rental?
From both scenarios, short-term and long-term, it's quiet. If you are louder, people outside don't hear you, so people won't complain. Yeah. If people are loud outside, you won't hear them. And then you have the idea that someone could potentially break in. Well, if you took a hammer to it, you're not breaking through that window. So you're increased safety. So that value of that feeling of safety is really good. Is a high value for that.
Do you tell tenants that?
I do tell tenants that.
Hey, welcome, check out our windows. Obviously not the first thing, but like, how do you make sure they know?
A lot of times, again, once they're sold on the beauty of the property, but then they're here, they start realizing, oh, it's quiet inside. Yeah. And I remember in my old place, it wasn't quiet. So a lot of times you don't have to tell them, the experience will keep them. Yeah. And that's what I mean with the windows. No one's gonna rent your place for these windows. It's really rare that that's gonna happen. But what they'll do is they'll stay for those features.
Yeah, I love your long-term vision.
Yes.
I love doing things top quality, and I can catch myself sometimes like, am I ever going to really see a return on this extra dollar, extra 1,000 or 10,000 or whatever I'm putting in? But retention, that totally makes sense, and just the overall guest experience. So I love what you're doing.
Yeah. So let's go in a little larger space to get Jeff to fix this.
Got a good handyman.
The two guys outside, Jeff, and we have a crew. Even for example, on our Airbnb, this bed, this is a Sealy Posturepedic bed.
Oh yeah.
So this bed is like $1,500. Now we get a huge discount because we buy volume, but it's a medium firm bed, and guests love it. You know. Plus we think about the size. We have a really high quality bed. It costs a lot of money for this frame, but it comes in with drawers on the side.
Oh, nice.
So now you can save yourself a lot of space with the drawer space. So every single factor is considered, you know, when we're doing it. On the side of our beds, you'll see that there's plugs here, and our plugs have USBs with, right? And now we're actually putting USB with Type C. So it's Type B and Type C plugs. So we're adding those now since they're available. And then we're swapping some of these out with those. So all of these little things of increasing their the functionality, the utilitarian use of the property is what I feel keeps a person, and the beauty draws them in. So that combination is really kind of my focus on what I'm trying to do, you know?
And solid bed frame, love that.
Yes.
My wife and I go somewhere and there's like a really rickety bed frame, and like she'll move around a lot when she sleeps, and I'm just waking up all night.
Yeah,
So,
and what's nice is sometimes we have, like an older clientele base, and it's high. We can actually remove the header and the footer and drop it down another 4 inches, because for them they're older, they can't get up. So they'll drop it down 4 to 6 inches, and then it's easier for them to get into bed and get out of bed.
Oh,
So we'll do things like that as
what
well.
kind of frame?
I don't know I forget the actual name of it, but it's I forget the name of it, but you understand the concept.
Oh yeah.
Is that we have the flexibility of doing that. So you'll see everything we're doing. I can depending on market demand, I can flip to tweak and pull the levers in a way to optimize income or curve out the income. So we're not having hard drops.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but there's always a hard drop if you're fully Airbnb, then going to fully annual rentals. There's going to be that drop. But you're in the sense of that normally doesn't happen. What happens is we'll take the 16 units, have them maybe 10, 12 Airbnb for annual rentals, and then season changes, we're going down to 4 Airbnbs and 12 annual rentals, where now we're not having anything empty. So we're not, you know, the idea of the rentals are like fruit, and if you own a market, you're throwing out bad fruit. If you don't rent it, you're throwing out profit. So we'll take something over nothing that has a right client, and when we can meet their needs in this type of product. So
Yeah. Can you keep them furnished?
some of them, yes, because we have a lot of high net worth individuals that own, like these houses around here, they're tiny. They're like that 1,500 square foot house sold for like $700,000. So when someone's building a house, they end up staying somewhere for a year, and then we'll rent it out fully furnished with all utilities included, and then, you know, they'll pay us a fair rent for that closeness to the water and the environment, and being able to walk to their house that's being built. It's a good vibe.
Okay, as far as bed size, some guys I've talked to do all queen, just to keep all the sheets and linens consistent. But I love a good king bed. What are your thoughts on bed size?
So, you know, it depends. So now again, there's no wrong answer. It's dependent on your market. So our market are cottages, and cottages are normally have small bedrooms.
Yeah.
So this is a big bedroom. This is considered a big bedroom downtown.
Yeah.
So if we put a king here, it'd be really tough.
Yeah.
So queen is sufficient. Now we do have some spaces that we put trundle twins. So it's a twin with another twin sliding underneath. You could pull out the other twin, and now you can have 2 twins.
Nice.
So we'll have that as well as an option for when people need it, if they're coming with other people, other guests. And also we have sleeper sofas with Tempur-Pedic cooling mattresses in the sleeper. So we have that as well. So we just basically match. What I try to do is find a functional, profitable way to supply the market with what they need, with what they're willing to pay for. So, because a lot of times people will ask for something, but they're not willing to pay for it. So what I do is I try to supply the market with what they need and willing to pay for. Example, the pool. The pool costs $150,000. It's a commercial pool to 2021 code, so it's a lot. People are willing to pay for a pool. I'm one of the few places that have a pool. So we can, the ROI is there. And then for the increased rents, and then based off the increased rents minus expenses, our net is really good. And then based off of the net, what our property value go up, we're gonna probably say $600,000 to $800,000 because we have a pool where the cost of pool is $150,000. So we leave $4 to $5 extra money for putting in a pool, and we have a return on the amount of expenses per month is like 5x on that as well. So, you know, both are 20%, so it's very good numbers to justify it. And also our length of stay, I believe, will increase. More people are gonna wanna stay and wanna stay longer since we have this and other people don't have this amenity.
Nice.